Welcome back, and today we are flying out the F-104A for the American tech tree. I don't think this plane really needs an introduction, but I do want to talk about it. Because it's, well, way too fast, it has nuts acceleration, and it has one of the best guns in the game. Now yes, this is where your advantages kinda stop, but in reality these are also the only real advantages that you really need. Sure, it turns like an absolute shit brick and it doesn't have any flares, which are basically the biggest detriment, but you actually have so much speed and acceleration that you can dodge both missiles actually quite handily, and I'll show you plenty of that in this video, and also how to deal with people that are just kind of riding your ass. Yes, it's kind of frustrating to play when everyone in the enemy team has good range, all aspect missiles. There's very little you can do and you basically get cancelled. But that's probably also the reason why this thing is at such a low BR. This thing is virtually untouchable. We use the AIM-9Bs mainly to shoot down all aspect missiles in the head-on. Other than that, I mean, I use them for stragglers and people that aren't paying attention, like we do in all the AIM-9B videos. But in reality, this thing is... honestly, I can't word it any other way as just fucking dumb. This thing is incredibly stupid. And there's two ways of flying this thing, and I want to cover both of them. The first one is playing this thing like God intended. Just pretend like you are a piss missile on the highway with a stretch motorcycle. You are just gonna be flying straight. You're not gonna be doing anything other than force head-ons, fly in at Mach 12... and just kind of gun people down that are busy with someone else. And the second one is where you are actually so overly aggressive that it starts surprising people. The issue is, if you start doing this and they have good missiles, you can see what's going to happen. You're going to end up too slow and you are just going to get slammed out of the air. I find it fun, but it doesn't really work consistently. It relies on your enemy not expecting you to do it. If your enemy does expect it, or you've tried it too many times in the same match and people start catching on, you are gonna get slammed. There is really no way around it, because being slow and close to someone in this thing is a death sentence. It's a way to get your ass eaten, and again, I'm not gonna king shame you if you're into that. And even though we are on the giant veiny cock map, it's still not something that I'm looking forward to. So we crit the Harrier in the head-on, and then we go for the A32A, which is also gonna do a whole lot of nothing to us. So I just kind of wait for him to pass so we can pull in behind him a little bit better. And we start closing the gap. Is this guy gonna do anything to us realistically? No, not really. It's just a matter of getting close to him and then just gunning him down. He actually notices us last second, which is a bit unfortunate, but he doesn't react properly and he ends up eating shit regardless. Now he is completely crippled and I can spend the next minute trying to get back behind him, trying to do loopies and stuff like that, but that's not gonna help my team out at all. I'm just gonna let that guy be absolutely crippled. And I'm just going to be letting him fly around the same way that the Harrier was. The Harrier just got taken down. A32 is not doing very hot and it's not a very good plane anyway. And if you are wondering just how bad it is, I made a video on it on the patch week. It's not worth it. So I'm just going to let that guy fly around and I'm going to fly across the map and see if we can gun someone else down. If you are noticing, yes, I have my radar off, same purpose as always. We don't have radar missiles, we don't need a radar, and I don't want one-to-one anyone's RWR. Sure, not many people have it, but it just gets in the way anyway, and it doesn't really serve a function. So I'm just gonna keep it off, and I'm just gonna keep flying straight, like we will do for the first half of this video. Now here's the Harrier, he is slow, he is full broadside, squeeze the trigger, he blows up. We turn out and we go for the next target. And this is why I rather play it in the other manner that I will show you at the end here. It's more fun. It shows you what the plane can do. Because anyone can make a review that looks like this, where they fly straight and they just kind of Vulcan people out of the head-on. It's not really that interesting. Now sure, it's very good at it. And I'm gonna prime the AIM-9B here just in case he shoots an R60 Amadeus. He doesn't really seem to be caring too much. He starts pulling in last second actually. And we get another crit in. Are we going to get another assist? And we are looking for that 4 assist game right here. Maybe I can do it. Maybe I can help my team without actually killing anyone. Which would be a little bit ironic considering I'm trying to show you this. But this is how you have to fly. You don't want to worry about getting the kills. You want to just make sure that your team stays alive. That you do your damage. And if you get kills while doing it, that's great. This thing is one of the dumbest planes in the entire game when it comes to having a team around you. Nothing without missiles can realistically touch you. It's absolutely filthy and this thing just radiates pressure to the entire enemy team because you can catch basically everyone, you out-accelerate basically everyone, you have a gun that commands respect. And I know that I sound like someone that's about to sell your subscription to Hustlers University to turn you into a Sigma male, but trust me, this plane is just absolutely filthy. In the background we are gonna clean up the last Su-25, and as you can tell we are gonna prime another AIM-9B in case he actually uses it. We shoot it right at it and guess, it actually works. We turn back in, we crit him. Are we gonna get the kill? Are we going to get that 4th assist? We are looking to do the most amount of damage without actually doing any of the killing. At least that's supposed to be a mindset. If you start focusing too much on the same target, you are going to get either yourself killed, you're not gonna do anything, or you are just gonna be locked in a fight for the rest of the match until you finally run away. So you really need to fly this thing looking for wins, not so much kills. You need to be patient, you need to just look at the bigger picture, and I always say this, that it goes for every plane. But with a plane like this, it goes for everyone, and if you can't really do it in a plane like this, you're not going to be very effective. You're probably going to get a few kills in the head-ons, you're probably going to get something done, but in the grand scheme of things, if your team is dead in this, you're just going to die as well, unless they all head on you and you dodge them and they don't, and you don't trade and you kill all of them that way. Sure, that happens, but most of the time, you're just going to eat shit. So we head on the Su-25, he doesn't shoot an R60, so we don't have to shoot our AIM-9B either. If they shoot it at super close range, you can't really counter launch on the R60. You know, it's just what it is. I can't really be scared for the entirety of the match. I'd rather take them as they are looking at me, opposed to trying to take them as they are coming from the side aspect, or maybe they're diving on me or whatever. It's much harder to dodge the missiles. From this kind of range, I can just kind of go up, bleed the missile of speed, and we just kind of fly away from him. Now he is shooting from a quite far range, so I'm just gonna bait him into shooting a second one out. But instead of flying directly at us, he kind of just goes underneath us. I think, well, might as well try it. Dodge the missile of the MiG-21, we dive on the Su-25, we get a Mach cone here. So I'm gonna just push through it, keep shooting. He absolutely nuts all over the place. God bless Gaijin for giving us the ability to blow up missiles mid-air. And we go for the Hunter. The Hunter is actually pretty dangerous, not because he can catch us or because he's faster or whatever, but he has missiles that are actually pretty decent. Now, we actually crit him here. This guy just fucking dies. Doesn't really end up being that dangerous, but I've kind of committed to a singular guy. I'm in the clouds now. I haven't been really looking around, so there might just be another one among us, and I don't want to be ejected. So I just fly towards the middle of the map where there are less clouds, where everyone is spotted, or at least I hope so. It's always down to a little bit of luck. If there's a guy just camping in the clouds, if there's a guy with good missiles just kind of waiting to dive on you, this thing kind of just becomes useless. They can lock you out of the match quite easily, especially in these up tiers. But that's kind of how it should be. This thing is way too powerful without these people locking you out of the match. And you can tell that I'm just going Mach 1 basically the entirety of the time. I know there's a Shenyang behind us, but he doesn't have good missiles. He's not fast enough. I'm not really worried about him. So I'm gonna help my team over here. There's multiple people around. MiG-21 on my left, MiG-21 directly ahead of us, and then another MiG-21, but he is luckily back to base. So we go for the first one. He's just closest. He's the most accessible for us to kill. We underlead our shots, but we just keep pulling. We are gonna maintain this kind of speed, and the MiG-21s are gonna be pushed slow eventually. And they need to care about me. I'm way too fast. I emit way too much pressure. This MiG-21 just commits 9/11. And we now 3v1 the last MiG-21. So we are just gonna go vertical. But then I notice there's one on this 6. He's also on someone. It's an F-13. I'm not really worried. I'm just gonna break off and help the Harrier with the Shenyang. Because the Harrier, while it's pretty decent in a 1v1, if the Shenyang plays its cards right, and the Harrier actually keeps in the dogfight, the Shenyang will just win. So I'm just gonna help him out. The Shenyang instantly breaks off. He starts getting his speed up. And I'm instantly cutting throttle so I don't go too fast. So I can kind of stay on him and see if I can gun him down. He's pulling directly in front of us. We just miss a very easy shot. And I'm gonna pull into him for a little bit, because I know that he doesn't have the speed to really do this. And he's gonna waste a lot of energy. Now he shoots a missile off. We kind of just pull out of the way. Actually kind of lucky. If that's a little bit further away, with this kind of speed, that's going to hit me if I don't preemptively turn, because then he can't lead the missile and the missile won't pull in. AIM-9Es are a little bit scarier, because they can of course lock me up, aim the missile in a general direction where I'm going to be going, and then the missile has a much easier time pulling in. But when the AIM-9Bs, or at least the equivalents, the uncased ones, if you're too close they can't really do much, because the missile just, it needs to be led, and I was kind of turning into a direction. Makes it for a pretty easy dodge, but if that's a little bit further away, a little bit of altitude, going below like 800, and then this plane will struggle with even something like an AIM-9B, and that's just the reality of it. So stay fast, even versus AIM-9Bs. And this right here is exactly why this plane is so disgusting. We are the same BR as this F5, and I just catch him no problem. Does the same predictable dodge. This time we blow his wing open. He is crit, he's not going to be doing very well. And I just kind of turn towards our side of the map, because I know that he wants to follow. He did it the first time as well. He got crit, he got close, he thinks maybe I'll get a shot off. And I kind of just pull him towards my team, make him do basically a full 360, because first he pulls after me and then he pulls back to go back to his runway. And this allows me to get my team closer to him. And if I can't kill him, they definitely will if I get this guy slow enough. And that's exactly what this plane is good at. Underlead again. We go vertical, try to bait him into going after us. This time he doesn't do it, however. He's actually going to try flying straight. He notices that he doesn't have the energy. And I'm just going to keep my speed up, be a bit more aggressive, and just sit directly on this guy's ass. Now we're going to cut throttle here once we have the position. But he gets gunned down by an A-10 from like 12 kilometers away. Such is the circle of life. Now we've got the boring stuff out of the way. Let's take a look at how to fly this thing a little bit more aggressively. We had this hunter just chase us for a good 1 minute. He wasn't catching me. He instantly showed his intent. And I want this guy dead, because I know that this guy is going to pop up out of the clouds out of nowhere just to kill me. Is it because it's me? Is it because of the plane? Is it because I'm just the first guy that he saw? It doesn't really matter. He shows that he's going to be annoying later on in the game. So I want to make sure that he dies. So I'm going to go for the F-13 here. He's stalled out. He's not going to be pulling into that. And even if he does, not very likely that he hits it. And there he is. The hunter appears directly behind us, just like predicted. So we are going to keep him quite close, make sure that he can't get a missile off. And then we start just diving away from him once we've depleted him of enough speed. Now we are going over Mach 1. He's probably going about 800-ish. Missile comes off the rail, and this will hit us if we let it. So we're gonna make it turn as much as we can, and the second it burns out, we're gonna do a little bit of a snap roll. It loses all of its speed, and the missile runs out like 10 meters behind us. Is that a little bit lucky? Yes, if it was a little bit closer, we probably would have blown up. But hey, gotta play with the cards you are given, right? So we shoot down the Su-7. And we are going to get another hunter on our 6. And I'm not sure what it is with hunters, especially the German one. They just really like going for F-104s, probably because they think that they can just get easy missile kills. This one, way too far away. We just kind of do the same thing, but less extreme. We turn left, we turn right. And I want to bait a second missile out of this guy, because he's shooting them from way too far away. So I'm going to pull in. I'm going to let him fire it, because he 100% will. Here it comes. We just turn out and we do the same thing, but this time we have a little bit of a safety net. We do the same thing, roll left, right, roll a little bit, and boom. Missile defeated, and that's the second one. So now he doesn't have any missiles left. Now sure, if we get third partied, this is going to be a bit of an issue, but I just felt like doing this. So I'm going to fly up right here. The hunter is shooting from way too far away. I already know that this is a guy that hasn't flown these planes that much, and I'm just going to put it into the vertical. Why? Because I want to get a little bit of altitude. I just want to get away. I want to stall this guy out. And I want to open up the gap. You need a lot of room and time to stall people out in the F-104. Why is that? Because it's a train. Do I really need to explain it? This thing is absolutely on rails. And that's partially what makes it so good. But when your enemy doesn't have missiles left, you can kind of just pull them up and try to stall them out. Now I did mess this up slightly. I'm pretty heavy on fuel still, and this guy is really committed to dying. So I'm just gonna bait him into turning there. And then I actually don't commit to my turn instantly. And now he is pitching straight up for us. The issue here is that we are not gonna be getting our nose on target in this loop right here. So I'm gonna try to keep it horizontal. I'm trying to maintain my elevated position. So I just kind of pretend like this guy is my brother and I have the high ground. Now he's probably gonna try something stupid, like doing a backflip over the lava and then like ends up getting his legs cut off. He says that he hates me. I tell him that I loved him. Yada yada yada. You know how it works. I need to fill in these blanks because you can tell that even with a hunter that is actively trying to give me room. He just turned the opposite direction to give me a lot of separation. And then he dives out from me and he actually gives me dead 6. I still struggle very, very hard to kill this guy in this kind of manner. And this is one of the least maneuverable subsonics. So you can imagine just how annoying it is to try to do this versus something like an F-Saber, a CL-13B, God forbid something like a MiG-17. You know, this is not a reliable way to kill these guys. But if they don't have missiles, they also can't kill me. And if you have a teammate around, it's absolutely perfect for baiting people. and just resetting fights and being untouchable. Now this guy really wants to reach his airfield. He's so busy trying to reach the airfield and flying straight that he just forgets that he can outturn me and then go to the airfield afterwards or whatever. It doesn't really matter. The guy's an absolute bozo and he ends up dying to an AIM-9B. Absolutely incredible. And then we have two MiG-19s as well as a MiG-21-6. R60 comes off. And this thing has even less range than the AIM-9J, so we just kind of do the same thing. We go left, right, we do a little bit of a snap roll, and it just doesn't reach us. Missile blows up midair, and we just disengage. Two of them will go RTB, and then Nemesis says this. And I'm gonna be channeling my inner Michael Jordan this time around. We're gonna take it very personally. We're gonna hit the brakes, and he will fly right by. We're gonna make sure that the MiG-19 just goes much quicker than us. He's gonna overshoot. And now if he's dumb enough, then we might be able to shoot him down. And he just kind of... That's all I have to say. The other MiG-21 manages to crash. He is out of fuel. Extra-7 behind us. Other MiG-19 directly ahead of us. He is just too busy shooting bots down. Yeah, I mean, we're just gonna sit on this guy 6. He's not really busy avoiding us or whatever. Squeeze the trigger. Only get a crit. A little bit unfortunate. He is gonna end up crashing in the end. But we need him dead right now. I want to RTB. I'm relatively low on fuel. Other MiG-19 starts coming in. He starts dodging us. We can't really lead the plane enough. Notice that he's going vertical. I want to see if I can maybe pressure him a little bit. But the other MiG-19 is coming in. So I'm forced to break off. I'm going to force a head-on with this guy. And then we will just RTB. Now we don't end up winning this game. We are going to lose on tickets because they all start ground pounding. But really, it wouldn't be that interesting if I had won this game, because it would have just been 20 add-ons where I would have killed like 4 people. Thank you all for watching, and you'll see me in the next one.